Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Salesforce Platform Developer, day 13. Tonight, we're going to continue with our Visualforce pages, part 3. Okay? The part 3 is predominantly us going through this case study. I asked everyone to walk through this case study yesterday so we can have an idea of how to build an Apex from scratch. And not just that, we want to be able to style our Apex. Okay, this is a very key requirement for the case study. Okay, so I just zoom up and let me just read it out again. Design and develop a model to create, read, update, delete customers, the invoice of the customer, and the invoice items of an invoice. So you're going through relationship. Okay, and the relationship is master detail as stated in the requirements. Also, make sure that users are able to create new from each of the objects and ensure that we do not have duplicates, which is checked against email. Okay, so if the email exists, you just update instead of in creating a new customer. Then make sure you have home page and you use a bootstrap theme. Okay, this is very important. Let's start with this actually. So now let's go into our trailhead. Log in. Okay, please pay attention because this will be part of your project. Being able to create a CRUD is going to be part of your project. So please pay attention. I wouldn't give you this code. You have to create your own code. Okay, so I'm going to go to Developers Console. We're going to continue from where we stopped yesterday, but we're going to be creating the object. Okay, so first thing first, let's go to the back end and create an object called customer. Okay, we cannot use the inbuilt standard customer because it has some limitation. For instance, it is associated to the user and it cannot load data into that customer object. Okay, that's why we're creating our customers object. Okay. So now that we have that, I'll just allow reports, although you don't have to, but I just click it. Save new. Now we want to create an invoice, okay? Invoice. I think we also have a standard invoice in Salesforce, but we're using this custom because it's kind of like give us extra ability to do whatever we want to do. However, if you want to use the standard invoice, please feel free to use a standard invoice, okay? Then I will create invoice item, okay? Invoice item, okay? Now we've created these 3 objects, okay? What we can do is, let me open this in a new tab, but I like to visualize things as well, right? I go to schema, I clear all. Customer, the second customer object, which is this invoice, the second invoice and invoice item. Okay, as you can see, we have not associated these guys. Okay, this is an object, this is an object, this is an object. Now, going back to the case study, design, develop, master detail relationship. So if you want to create a master detail relationship between invoice and customer being the master and invoice being the child. Why? Because a customer would have many invoices. You cannot say let's say you want to have an invoice. You cannot say one invoice will belong to a customer and that's it. Like the customer would always be having invoices. Do you get? So you cannot say that, okay, this customer would only have one invoice, then you say 1-to-1. No, you cannot say lookup because lookup, once you take off that lookup, then it's actually, you can use lookup to illustrate the relationship, okay? It's not a bad idea to use lookup, but the problem is that if a customer no longer exists in the system, who will own this invoice? Because if you use lookup, there is no strong relationship. So if you delete this customer, then this invoice will be fatherless or motherless, right? And if it is parentless, then it doesn't make sense. So when you're building a relationship, try to understand, should I be using master detail or a lookup? If you want to use a lookup, now think, what would happen if this guy no longer exists? Then you now say, oh, no, I need to use a master detail because I want to eliminate all the invoice and the invoice items anytime this guy does not exist. Okay, so now let's go back to our object. I go to customer. Then I create fields for customer, okay? So what kind of fields do I want to create? Definitely, I want to have an email, okay? Then maybe I can just create some address fields and stuff for customer. But definitely, let's start with email. Email. If they say the email should be unique, you can just make it unique while creating it, okay? So you can make the email unique while creating it, but we're gonna do that based on code, okay? But you can make it unique straight off while creating it, okay? Then let's create phone number, okay? And we have, what else can we have? State. What else can we have? Address. What do you use for address? This address, okay? Test area. What else can we collect from customer? State. We've collected states. What was zip code? Zip code. Okay, I think we're done with customer. Let's go to the invoice. What do we need for the invoice? We need start dates, right? Start dates or due dates, whichever one. Due date of an invoice. What else can you have? This is me just creating model, okay? Like there is no right or wrong. You shouldn't have thought about this. But as a consultant with an experience, you should start thinking about the kind of fields that should go into a particular object based on experience. Do you get what I mean? So it's not like there is a right or wrong answer for fields. You can create any field you want. Think about the objects and think about what kind of field can we have in an invoice? Start dates, end dates. These are fields that would just come up logically, okay, in an invoice. So don't think I'm just creating this, out of the box. It's something that I've thought about based on even the project I gave to you guys. Total invoice amount. Okay. Then you can probably use a roll-up summary to get the total invoice, or you can run a trigger to get the total invoice amount. Okay. But let me go back. Let's select currency for now. I'll let us use a trigger. Maybe that will be your assignment. We use a trigger to actually get a total invoice amount. So it's just a case of summing things up, right? Then we need to create relationship, okay? What's the relationship? Master detail relationship to the customer object, okay? Where's the customer? This is a customer, okay? As you can see, in the master detail relationship, you do not need to select a visibility because the master would always see it regardless. Okay, you don't get that option to select visibility because it's going to inherit the visibility of the parents. Okay, let's go to invoice item. Then we go to fields and relationships. What do we have in invoice item? Similarly to your project, we need to know the money, right? We have the costs. You can make it 2 decimal place, doesn't matter. What else can we have in invoice item? I think that's it. We don't need to have anything. Maybe we can have description of the invoice, okay? Let's just have description of the invoice. Okay, so we have that. That means we have a model. More importantly, what do we need to have? A master detail relationship that is linking the invoice item to the invoice. Okay, that's the most important thing. Okay, let's go back to our schema and refresh the screen. And you see, we have done our relationship. So as a developer, at least worst case, if you don't know what I asked you to do from the case study, you should be able to create this. This is the relationship. Takes about 15 minutes, fine, but you should be able to develop a master data relationship. Know where it's coming from, know where it's going, okay? This is very important for your learning. Now that we have this, let's go into our developer console. Yesterday, we were working on custom controller. Let's just close all this, okay? We already have a customer controller in place. That's fine, which means we've already done the CRUD and everything for that. Okay. Why is it taking time? Okay, so let's just try to start afresh. Let's say you want to create. So based on our case study, we've been able to achieve this, okay? We've been able to achieve the diagram. Let's go into this. Bootstrap. How do you get a team into your Visualforce page? Bootstrap team. Okay. Get Bootstrap. So why is Bootstrap? Bootstrap just makes it easier for you to style things. You know, it makes it easier for you to style things. It gives you an example. Let's say I want to create something like this. It gives you that ability to create something like this. If I want to create something like this, it gives you that code out of the box. So you don't need to worry about it. And if I want to create this, it gives you the code out of the box. Okay, so that's the benefit of Bootstrap. How do you integrate Bootstrap to your website? First of all, you go to the Bootstrap and you download examples. Okay. Once you download the examples, you're going to get, I'll just put the examples in my desktop. Okay, I want to copy it and put it in my desktop. Just for a minute. Bootstrap. I'm copying it and putting it in my desktop, okay? So this is my Bootstrap desktop. And you can see, if you open it, whatever template which you want from this, for instance, if you want this, you can get it using albums, right? So if you go to your Bootstrap, you go to album, you click on index, and it's going to give you. So this is like HTML. On your page, view page source. This is HTML. Okay, so this is Bootstrap. If you want another example, let's say you want, let me see this. Let me use Jumbo. Jumbo. This is Jumbo, okay? Let's say I want this. What do I need? Jumbo, okay? I go to Jumbo folder. This is it, okay? Open this, maybe with Visualforce Studio Code or anything, but just open it first. Or go to page source and just copy everything. Okay, I just copied everything. Go to my, I'll call it home page. Home page, okay? Remember, everything you do in 1 minute, everything you do in Visualforce page, it has to be wrapped around Apex page, okay? Otherwise, it's going to fail. So now we have this. Save. Let's see the errors we're getting. The content elements must be well-formatted data markup, okay, on line 3. So I'm going to take this off, okay, because I don't need it. And HTML, I don't need it. Why? Because I already have Apex page. On line 73, the element type link must be terminated by matching end tag. Go to the line 73. 73 is head, but it's referencing link. That means link must have been used before. So scroll up a little bit. So this is link, okay? Make sure that it is terminated. Link, it is terminated, okay? So self-terminating is also allowed, okay? The meta tag must be terminated. This is meta, okay? Terminate, 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 and terminate, okay? Oh no, title is already terminated. Title has opening and closing, so title is already terminated, okay? Let's see the other error. Are we still having, okay, meta, terminated? Okay, that's it, preview. Okay, so we need to do more stuff, right? Apex page, what do we need to do here? The standard styles. False, I don't want the Salesforce styles to be there. Show header, false, I don't want the Salesforce header to be there, okay? So now we have this. That means we have the HTML there, which is fine, but the style is not coming up, okay? The style is not coming up. So what is controlling the style? This is what is controlling the style, okay? So I need to open this. It is in assets, distill, SSS, CSS. So I go to my asset folder. Where's your asset folder? Asset folder, CSS, okay? So this is the key thing that is bringing the style from Bootstrap. I will turn this into, I can copy this. Okay, I'll paste it here. Then I'll just zip this file. Normally you can just zip everything, right? In fact, let's delete this. Let's delete this. Okay, so I'll just zip this file. All the files here, I will zip them. It turns into archive, but I'll call it styles. Okay, I call it styles. Okay, so now I call it styles. I go to my static resources. I will upload. Yeah, I think the other day we upload style zip. Let's upload a new one. Styles. Okay. Desktop. Bootstrap. Wait, let me look for the folder. This is the folder. So the folder is present in okay, so let me just go back. I go to my desktop and I go to Bootstrap. I go to this. I go to I go to assets. I go to distill. I go to CSS and I upload styles. Okay, make it public. Otherwise, the Visualforce page will not be able to read it. Okay, so now I have styles. Now, what do I need to do? I need to bring styles into my visual this page. Okay, so instead of using this styles like this, I want to bring the style into my Visualforce page. So how do you bring styles? How do you bring styles? Remember, I did not know how to bring the style sheets, the syntax. I just say styles Visualforce page. No, not lightning, but link. And I remember we go into the documentation to see how we can bring style. Okay, this is the documentation. And I just Google what I'm looking for. The key thing is being able to know what you're Googling. Okay, if you know what you're Googling, your life will be easier. It's with experience, I know what I'm Googling. But then again, as you can see, you being able to Google the right thing would accelerate your programming experience, okay? So now I just need to change this to styles because it is styles, right? And I need to, what is the file we're interested in? The file we're interested in is this file, okay? Rename, copy that file, then that's the file we're interested in, okay? Save. Now, we have introduced a style sheet that is not dependent on the external style sheets because that external style sheet is local to our application, okay? So now we have this, which is what we got from the website, okay? Getbootstrap.com. This is it. This is our Salesforce, and we have a very nice starting point, okay? This is how you integrate your style into your Visualforce page. Then you can start making some nice stuff. Let's go back to Jumbo again and go to, let's say we need, so what do we need? We need this stuff at the right-hand side, right? I can just right-click and look for how it's being done. Okay, so I know pricing features and stuff about, so I can just kind of like grab these pills, right? I can grab this pill, which is wrap around header. And you can, okay, the only thing there is that you might want to grab some of the styles that is dependent on that pill as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put it here. So we can't have two headers, right? I'll just take off one header and save. So the attributes, right? It says the prefix S-link. Is there any S-link somewhere? Just take it off. Okay, but you can just put a link there if you want. And you will have this. Can you see? So instead of having the previous jumbo, where's the jumbo? This is jumbo, right? Instead of having jumbo, now you have something like this. So what you can do is you can bold this. You can do whatever you want to do. Now you're in charge because you can now integrate the Bootstrap team into your application. Okay? Then this should be, anything. Just call it Customer Management Hub. Okay? Customer Management Hub. Okay? Then you can always be testing your app and be seeing changes and stuff like that. So now you have that. What you want to do is create customers. Okay? Create invoice. View all customers. View all invoices. Then let's add one more. View all invoices item, right? Invoice items, right? View all invoice items. Okay. Create invoice item. Okay. So we have, okay, that's a bit too much, right? It's a bit too much. Let's kind of like minimize it. Let's just cut out some things. I just want it to look nice. So you can take this one out. You can take this one out. Okay. Okay. It looks better this way. So also you might want to just take home or whatever it is. Now we have example button. I'll just say customers. Okay. This is where your creativity just comes in. Okay. Customers listing or customer management, and example button. You can make it create customer and create another button. View customers. Okay. Similarly, you can turn this one to invoice and create invoice. View invoices, okay? And this, you can just call it invoice items. Okay, we need to get more functional, but then again, you have to design your page before you start getting functional, because functional is what we did yesterday. This is just integrating what we did yesterday, okay? Create invoice item, then view all invoice item, okay? So it gives you two buttons, two buttons, two buttons. What you can also do is you can change the color, right? Success. And all this stuff is as a result of the Bootstrap. So I can do all this stuff because of what I know from Bootstrap. For instance, let me go to Doc. So Doc will tell you what you need to do. Gutters. So these are gutters, okay? Like spacings, which is fine. Let's go to typography. If you want to have H1, use H1. If you want to have this kind of display, use this kind of display, okay? That's typography for you. Figures. If you want to have figures, you can just copy all this code and put it in your application. If you want to have select dropdown, copy an example of select dropdown and put it in your application. Everything you see in Bootstrap, all you just need to do is copy the HTML, okay? That's why I like Bootstrap. For instance, this select, you can just copy everything like this and just put it somewhere where you need it, okay? Just put it here, for instance, and it will automatically show in a nice format. You don't need to worry about CSS. You don't need to worry about anything. It just shows for you. That's the whole benefits of using Bootstrap, okay? You don't have to code things yourself. You want to create this button? Can you see? Primary will give you blue. Secondary will give you gray. Success will give you green. Danger will give you red. Warning will give you yellow. So just change this to warning. I mean, obviously, you don't want to change it to warning, but I'm just giving you an idea that you can change it to warning, okay? 1 minute, please. So you can change it to warning, and your button will change. Okay, can you see? It becomes green. If I go up here, change this to success. It will change to green, okay? Success is green, this is yellow. And just play around with your styling. As you can see, this is a front-end coding. So at work, they can ask you to just style an application. And that will be your job for the day or for the month or for the sprints. Just styling. At RBC, there was a time I was just working on styling application. When you get this thing from RBC, like a marketing email from RBC, all those stuff, I was the one that created those stuff, those styling at some point. So I usually feel proud about myself that my stuff is being used by almost millions of people that owns an RBC account. But then again, this could be your job at work, making sure that this green turns to blue, this blue turns to yellow when over true. That is the job of a front-end developer. And you don't need to know Visualforce page to do that. You just need to know how to integrate and how to style your application. So now we have that. So the first thing first, create customers, create invoice, view all customers, view all invoice. What does that mean? It means that they are Visualforce pages, okay? They are Visualforce pages. So first of all, pages. We already created customer yesterday, but let's just create from scratch, okay? Create customer. Create customer would require a form, okay? List all customers would also require a page. Then customer details, right? Customer details. So our CRUD, which is to create, we'll use create customer page, right? Read, we'll use customer detail page, okay? Update, we use the same stuff. The only difference is that update will be checking the URL if the ID is present. If the ID is present, then it's going to update, right? If the ID is not present, then it's going to create, right? We did this yesterday, okay? Then delete. Delete does not need a page. However, you can create a page for confirmation of deleted record, okay? You can create a page for it or redirect it to the same page, okay? And lastly, we need list of all customers. This will use list of all customers page, okay? Where it lists more than one customer, okay? So now we have this. So let's get started. I would probably not want to repeat some of the things I did yesterday. I'll just copy and paste, okay? So be aware of that. So we know that for us to create a CRUD, we need all this. So I will go to my developer and I'll start playing around. Create customer. So we have home page. I'll just copy everything. Before I copy everything, let me link my create customer. Create customer. So what do you want to link create customer? You want to probably use an outer link and just link create customer to the create customer page. Okay? You want to use an outer link to link it, or you want to an outer link will be better. Even button can carry out an action, but an outer link can just link to that page itself. Okay? So we want to put the link, create customer would be /apex/create customer. Okay? So if you go to create customer here, you should go to create customer, okay? Then create invoice should be create invoice. We haven't created a page for create invoice, so I'm not going to touch it. This one will now be /apex/list of all customers. Okay? Okay, that's fine. And the last one, why does it say list of all customers does not exist? List all customers. Okay, we call it list all customers. So list all customers. Okay, but more importantly, make sure that you have this in all your pages so you can just remove the standard Salesforce stuff, right? So at least we have a working create customer, view all customers, although there is nothing there, but we have it there, okay? So now let's go to the next thing on the list. Next thing on the list is to create customer. For me to create customer, what I can do is I can copy all this because I want to use a style, right? And paste it here. But I will need to take off certain things, okay? Refresh, create customer to give you the same page. But obviously, we need to change things. So what do we need to change? We need to go back to our Bootstrap and look for an example we can use. So an example we can use is something that has form. So this is a good example. This one has form, although the forms are much, but it has forms. That's the bottom line, okay? Okay, we don't want this RTL, but we want something like this, okay? But obviously, this is ambitious, but let's do this, okay? We right-click, paste source, and we just copy everything. Okay, copied everything to main. Go back to my developer. Grab the main and replace it. Okay, at least you have a working stuff. So now it's telling you that on line 80, the image must be terminated. Line 80, image terminated, okay? One to seven, input element terminated. Although we're still going to change the input element, but let's just use it for now. Line 132, input element terminated. terminated, 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 terminate. I'm taking off the attribute that has no value because according to a Visualforce page, we need to have a value for attributes. So we cannot use that HTML syntax. Okay. Save. 132 no validates. 132 no validates. 132 no validates. Take it off because it's an HTML stuff, right? 167. Okay. 180. We're gonna delete everything, but let's get a working look first before we start deleting stuff. Okay. So it's telling me that select is already terminated, so it doesn't know what I was doing there. So div must be terminated by matching stuff. Okay, I'm just trying to get a saved version of our app before I start taking things off. At least if you know that something is working, it becomes easier to take things off, okay? Okay, so now let's refresh this page again. So we have something a little bit different from what we currently have, which is not obviously a good thing. So first of all, let me find out what has happened. If you look at this, that means I have replaced all we have in the main. So I need to bring the header back, okay? This is the header we had before. I'll just bring the header and put it in my create customer, okay? That's the header that we had. As you can see, it's just a case of copying and pasting things. Refresh. The header is back, okay? But it's kind of like very wide. So I need to look at what we have in the styles. Okay, I need to look at what we have in the styles and copy it. Okay, and make sure that there are no other style sheets that are dependent on making that stuff work, okay? Because different page would have different styles, okay? So we copy that styles and see, again, we need to have, this is the main, okay? And if you look at this main, it's wrapped around a div container. So I need to go back here, go to my div container. If I have one, I don't have one. So I'll just wrap around div container and I will close my div, okay? Anything you open, you must close when it comes to HTML. Okay, let's see it again. Refresh. Okay, it's coming. It's looking promising. Then I want to take this off because it is not an image. Otherwise, I have to load the image in the static resources and everything. So I'll just take this off, okay? Take the image off. Okay, let me look for the image. Where is the image? It's at the top, which is this. I'll just take it off, okay? Save. Okay, gone. Then I have to take this stuff off, okay? I want to take this stuff off because I just want to fill a form, right? I don't need this, so I'll take it off. Maybe in the customer details page, we can use it, but for now, let's take it off, okay? So let me take your cart off and everything on that side off. So everything on that side has been taken off. I want to bring this to the center, okay? I want to bring this to the center because it looks like it's floating to the left. Okay, this is what I expect you guys to know in HTML, but then again, it comes with experience, you understanding the components to move around. So if you look at this, it says test center. This is fine, okay? So this is fine. I want to put it into the center properly. So what do I need to do? I can put it under a row. I just put it under a row, okay? And I take off this G5 stuff. Okay, save. So it's now going to be under the row, which is fine. Then for me to have containers, Bootstrap container. So Bootstrap container, what do I want to achieve? I want to get a grid. So for me to put something in a row and I want to create a container out of that row, I want to create a 3-column. I have to use div call, okay? Div call. This is row. This is the first div call. Okay, where is the second div call? This is my second div call. So I'll put this inside my second div call. Okay, and my third div call. My third div call will be this, okay? So now I have one div, second div, third div, okay? I don't need to put a column here. I don't need to put a column here, but let me put a column just for you to visualize what I've just done. Then I'll take it off, okay? So two, 6, 6. Okay. Okay, so now it's coming to the center, right? As you can see, this first column is here, the second column is here, and the third column is here. Okay, so let me just take it off now. So I don't want to label it. So now I'm saying I want to use column 7, but can I take off the large away? Okay, then I want to call this 4. Instead of 7, I want to call it 4, okay? So it's going to be equal columns. Then refresh. So as you can see, that's equal columns, right? If you want it to be 3 here, 3 here, then 3 plus 3 is 6. Then this has to be 6 because the entire columns are 12 according to Bootstrap. The entire columns for the bootstraps are 12 in a grid system. Okay, so it's 12 total columns, and you can have different class prefix for those columns. Okay, 1, 2, 1 of 2, 2 of 2, 1 of 3, and you can have different stuff if you want. Okay, so let me refresh it again. The center will be bigger. So now we have a form, and it looks nice. Okay, so I can just call this customer opening form. Okay. Then you can put whatever it is you want to put there. Customer details. Okay. So we have a starting point. Okay. So I know I did not create first name in my customer. So let me quickly just create first name, last name. Or did I create it? I don't know. No. So you can just create a first name and a last name, okay? So you can just have like a first name, last name kind of a thing that you want to fill the form with, or you can have you can just use the name, right? You don't necessarily have to use first name, last name, but if it's a customer, you might as well just use first name, last name. You get. So now I have first name. Okay, I know that we've spent about almost 1 hour, but I hope there are no questions till date, because if you have any question, you can just quickly stop me so we don't go far into the areas of your questions, okay? So we created first name. I want to create last name right now. Test last name. Everything we're doing is a bit intuitive. We haven't done anything logical. So please try to understand that it's more of playing around with HTML, CSS, okay? This is how I started my developer's career as well. This is where I spend most of my time, playing with CSS, HTML. So you could imagine I've done this stuff for a very long time, okay? So now we have first name, last name as a field. We need to change this to phone because we're not collecting username. So let's go to phone. Okay, we have phone. Phone. That's fine. So you can just call it phone as a placeholder. Okay, we might probably stay longer tonight, but please bear with me. I can take off this address to you. Okay. I don't need country, okay? I'll take off country, but I can turn this to 6 and this to 6, okay? Because a row would have 12, okay? This is 12. This is 6. This is 6 will come immediately after. Shipping address, I don't need all this kind of stuff. I'm just going to take it off, take it off, take it off, take it off. Okay. I hope I'm not taking enough, more than necessary. Okay, it saves, then refresh this. Good. So what we just need to do is take off the row and call this one create customer, right? Create customer and take off the row. Okay. So we pretty much laid a foundation for creating a customer. Okay. So all we just need to do, okay, we overstretch it. What we can actually do is, because this is class M4, right? That means you can have a div that is of that class. Okay. So the div will now carry the properties. Meanwhile, there is nothing there. Okay. That's another strategy. If you know that you need a space, just use that class. Okay. So this is a very simple form. So my expectation when I asked you to create a form using Bootstrap, this is the expectation. Create a form using Bootstrap. And now, yes, once you start putting in the value of, once you start using this thing, the Apex, this thing, it might get distorted, but at least the presentation needs to be there. Apex input. Visual first page. Let's try Apex input first. So if you want Apex input, this is what you're going to use, okay? And these are the attributes available. Okay, So let's try this, okay? So we're replacing these inputs with Apex inputs. That's what we're doing. So let's go with the first name first. This is the first name. We have this. So what do we need to put here? We need to put the value. What's the value? When you're creating customer yesterday, what did we use? Go to open. One minute, I'm trying to see from yesterday, okay? So we just grab this, okay? So if we have, let's go to the class. This is the class we created, right? Okay, for account, sorry. For account, we have something like this, right? So what we just need to do is create, like I'm just going to copy everything here, new, and I'm going to call it customer controller. Okay. Customer, that's it. So we've literally just changed from account to customer. The only difference now is we need to have the account change to customer, and that will be it. Okay. So it's telling me that the create customer page, which is this create customer page, requires HTML doc type version 5.0 or higher. Okay. So I just need to declare that doc type. Doc type. And you say 5.0, right? HTML 5.0. Okay. Then we go to customer, create customer. So before that, I think it's saying another thing. It says must occur between tags. Don't worry, we're gonna get there shortly. Let's just go back to our customer controller and change all this to customer, because customer is what we're interested in, not account. So I'm just gonna change all this to customer, okay? Customer. Make sure you're using the custom objects, not the standard one. Alternatively, you can just control A, control select and stuff like that. So customer record. Okay. So basically, let me explain again. You're creating one single customer in case you want to create a new customer in the system, or you want to retrieve a customer in the system. Okay. And this one is for you to grab customer record as used in this query from yesterday. Okay. Customer is this. So you're getting one single customer, or you're creating one single customer. Limit 1 if you want to get from the system. But remember, you want to look at the URL to find out if there is a customer ID present in the URL or not. Okay? So now we have to query the fields in customer objects. What are the fields in customer objects? First name, last name. Phone, email. Okay. Okay, so we just literally just query that. Then let's go down a little bit and upsert customer, not account. Customer details. Okay, so let's go down here and fix whatever we have here, customer ID. Okay. Just waiting for it to save. Illegal assignments on line 43, customer lists. Okay. And we have customer, okay? So the last one is this tag, okay? So it's on the create customer page. So our controller is working fine. The only thing left is this tag, which is a create customer. That means we need to have, okay, let me see. We need to have controllers. Okay, standard controller, because we want to use the standard feature of the customer objects, but we also want to use extensions of the customer controller, okay? So now let's look at the tags and make sure that we are in compliance, okay? It must occur between tags. So this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. So it's telling me that this Apex inputs must occur between the Apex form, because Apex input is a sub-component of Apex form. So it's telling me that I cannot just put Apex inputs without first having Apex form. Okay, that's what it's telling me. So I'm going to replace this form with Apex form. So I'll take this form off. Then I'll replace it with Apex form. You know, there's some HTML stuff that you cannot use out of the box. You need to replace it with Apex. Okay. So now this is saying Apex pages the standard controller. I need to have that constructor. So going back here, I don't have the constructor. Remember, yesterday I told you about having a constructor that is based on the standard controller. Because why? You're using standard controller in your Visualforce page. So if you not use a standard controller, if you had used like just a normal controller, okay, if you had used just a normal controller, it's not going to be asking you for the standard controller extension like we had. So if you're using standard controller, it's expecting you to have some standard controller constructor. So what's a constructor? Constructor is a way to define, okay? It's a way to define apex.pages. No, apex pages dot what page component. Standard controller component is what we're going to use, okay? Standard controller. Okay, that's it. So we have it. Save. So now Why is this not saving? Okay, it's saved. Then we go back to this. It says input value, unknown property, customer, input value. Okay. So we go to the inputs. Where is the inputs? This one. It's telling us that I don't know what input value is. Tell me what input value is. Because what we want to do is we want to just store the value of customer. Okay. The customer that we're creating, we want to store that value into our system. So it's telling us that, okay, I don't know what this customer is. Okay. So what you just need to do is create an instance of an object of customer that would accept all your input parameters. Okay. You want to create an instance of a customer object that would take all your input parameters, and you're going to use that object to store record into the system. Okay. So looking at this, we have that already in place. Instance of a customer object that is either creating a new customer or is querying an existing customer to find the customer record. Okay? It's querying an existing customer to find the customer record. So now, all you just need to do is grab this and I can just call it name because we need to store a name, right? So now it's saying, does not support fields on a Salesforce object. Use expression. 1 minute. Does not support fields on a Salesforce object. Use expression. That was what I did, right? So is it just one quote you want? Let me just see if it's one quote, but that was what I literally did. Okay, so maybe input field. Okay, so it's not just accepting inputs as because input is like a generic, right? Then input field is like a Salesforce recognized field in the Visualforce page. Input field is like, okay, this field exists in the Salesforce. Input is something you can easily manipulate. Okay, so now we have the customer name. We have the customer name. Let's just kind of like refresh just to see what we currently have in the front end. Okay, we have this input. Now this is the challenge, right? It has to look like what we want. So how do you style? How do you use a class? How do you use a class in input field? Because this is a class that is controlling that style. Okay. As you can look at the way I'm just using the keyword. Let's see what this guy is doing. I'm looking for the class, okay? Let's try this because that's what even Salesforce recommended. But we won't dwell on this too much, okay? So let's have this style class form control. Does it look different? Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, so now let's just replace everything with that. Okay, we just change the inputs. Obviously, change this thing to first name, right? Okay, so we do the last name as well. I just hope you guys know what I'm doing. I'm not really doing anything different from what we learned yesterday. The only thing is I'm just integrating it into a Bootstrap theme, okay? Okay, and save. So you're saying duplicate IDs detected on last name. Where do we have last name? This one, change it to address. So saved, that's good. Refresh this. That's it, okay? So now we have literally transformed our form to Visualforce form, okay? It looks really nice. Then let's change the button from button to Apex button, okay? Apex command button. And it's a self-closing button, but it requires value. Okay? Create customer. Then we have the action from yesterday. Remember, everything I'm doing I already showed you yesterday, okay? Everything I'm doing is from yesterday, okay? The action is save, right? What is the action? The action is save. So you can call it create customer to even make it more explicit. Okay. Okay, that's it. So when we create customer, where does it go? Customer details, right? Let's quickly go to account details from yesterday because we know that we have account details. Let me open account details page. This is account details page, okay? This is what we have. It's going to be customer record, right? Customer record. Customer record, okay? Then last name. Then what else? To email. You know, this is just like a dummy, right? We're still gonna customer details, okay? And it's gonna be customer controller. We should have just copied it, but anyway, don't worry. Customer controller. And it's just gonna be an extension of the standard controller. You know what? I'm gonna undo everything and just copy it. Go to customer details and just paste it, okay? So I have my page for customer details without stressing over the account details changes. Okay, so this is the customer details. And you cannot declare two things at the same time. You cannot declare the same thing twice. Okay. This I wouldn't say. Okay, so I discarded those changes. Now I'm going to go to accounts. I'll call it customer. Okay. Account record. I'll call it customer record. Name, last name. Email. Then you can copy as many fields as you created, right? State, zip code, address, phone, address, phone, state. Then the last one is what? The last one is zip code. Okay, this is just you displaying stuff, right? Now, going back to customer record. It said customer record does not exist. So let's go to customer controller. Customer record, this customer record. Go to customer details. Customer controller. Okay, but you need to use the extension. Okay, so as you can see, based on what I'm getting, I'm fixing the problem. You need to be able to understand your errors and be able to fix your errors. That's what makes you a good programmer. Studying the errors you're making and trying to figure out what does this mean? What does this mean? And everything comes with experience. And the only way you can have experience is by getting busy. When I studied to become a developer, sometimes I don't sleep. And this was back in Nigeria, not even here. Like literally studying, despite not having enough electricity to study, I would still study. Then, because of opportunity, I was able to advance my studies in a different country. But then again, it comes with challenges. So right now, your own challenge is not that you don't have lights. It's just that you don't have time. And that's because of responsibility. You just need to be able to manage yourself and just keep studying. Okay, so now we have our details page. If I go to the details page, I click on preview. There is nothing there, right? Which is fine. So now let's create a customer. So what is this stuff doing here? So we have two buttons. We have two buttons on create customer. We have two buttons on create customer. We have to use one, right? So style class. Can you use style class on the button? Can you use class style on the button? Let's see. I don't think I've used it before, but let's see. Because buttons are very tricky. Okay. Refresh. Okay, it's worked. Okay, so now let's try. Okay. Babatope Olajide, phone 902-580-7748. Okay, finger crossed. So it passed this stuff into the URL, which is good. Okay, but it's not. So it's saying our customer ID is this, which is not good. Okay, so first of all, let's look for the customer we just created. Is that a customer we just created? No, it's not. It's not the same customer. So we have to add it, okay? Customer. Select a color. Next. Make it visible. Next. Save. Okay. So we have that. I want to bring it to view. I'm so glad you guys did admin and platform builder. So all this stuff I'm doing is not strange to you. If it's strange, then I'll be worried. Okay. So this is a customer that got created, right? It's just that, as you can see, the customer got created. It's just that we did not grab the ID. Okay. The ID was faulty. So let's go back to our controller again. This is customer controller. Customer, create customer ID is a customer ID that got created. So this is meant to be customer.id. We are returning the customer instead of a customer.id. Okay. That was a good one. Let's go back and create a customer again. Refresh this. Let's create another customer, John Doe. John Doe, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 7. John@doe.com. Address 101 Bay Street. State is New York. And zip code is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Create customer. So now it's created a customer, but it is going to account details instead of customer details. So change this customer details. Okay. Then go back and create another customer. John Doe, I'll call it Mary Jane. Okay, Mary Jane, create. Now, it's saying S object row was retrieved without querying the requested field. So I am using address, but I never requested address in my controller. So what do I need to do? I need to add address field to my controller request call, okay? And add it here as well. And I think that's it, okay? Save. So go back again. Let's create Victor Moses, okay? Then just make it California. Okay, great. Okay, let's take our time. Let's actually include all the things we're using. C, states, and zip code. I'm pretty sure zip code would have popped up if we did not fix it now. So we use zip code. Okay. Save. And I go back again and okay, I'm out of name right now. Shay Taylor. Okay. Now it gave us everything, but it just put it there without styling. So what do we need to do? We need to style our customer details page. So how do we do that? Again, go back to Bootstrap and look for something that looks like something you want to use. This is dropped down. I don't need it. How about me use this? I'll just flip it. Okay. I'll use the same thing, but I'll flip it to the other side. So the customer details will be here and the invoice listing will be on the right-hand side. Okay. So let's use the same thing. Create customer. Okay. Copy all the main to the main. Details. Where's customer details? Okay. This is where we're going to put it. Now, what can you observe? What can you observe? If you look at this, you realize that you are constantly copying things and pasting, and they are repeated. Let's hide this for a minute. Let's keep this somewhere here. We don't really need it for now. We'll come back to it later. What can you observe? You can realize that I'm pasting all this main. It is here. It is in my create customer. It is in my customer details, and it is in my own page. So I'm replicating codes. As a developer, you need to observe patterns. What are patterns? Patterns are the things that you're doing repeatedly that does not make sense. So you need to do what, is it encapsulation? Encapsulation, right? Then you have different types of programming concepts whereby you can encapsulate a particular program. So you don't have to constantly, copy and paste it. You can just call it. Okay, you call it, and this is core programming, but you don't need to know this core programming in order to become a Salesforce developer. However, if you want to go fully into programming itself, you need to know all those terminologies because it will help you become a better programmer. So, as you can see, we are using the same style everywhere. So let's observe something. I want to be able to copy everything from here to here, which is, okay. So you observe that this is one thing, right? Okay. So I just want to see where I can make things better. So I have this. Okay. I have this. And copy this. Okay. Copy this and call this header template. Okay. So what's header template? Header template just carries all this header stuff, right? Everything that your code is using, it just carries it and it calls it header. Okay. So I go back to my home page. I copy all this. Okay. I copy all this to main. Okay. I'm copying all this to main. You have to be very careful. Okay. So main starts. When main starts, copying this as well. Okay. So I have header, main. Okay. Take all this away. And This is part of the home page, so I don't need to copy it. I'll just stop here. Okay, I'll stop here and I save. So this one I would take. Just give me 1 minute. Let me see. Main. Okay, that means this one I can just give me 1 minute. Let me see. This header, that's fine. I want to be able to use my header at some point without having to have this, okay? So I want to see the best way to do this. I want to have this. I want to always include it into my design without actually having to rewrite the main all the time. So I'm looking for the best way. Okay, I'm just looking for the best way that will make me achieve that. So so what we can do is we can take off this main, okay? Because if we put the main there, we're going to have trouble, okay? So we have this. Okay, we have this. So what's the issue here? Body. How about me take body? Then let's close body. Okay, let's close body. Okay, so I have that. List of customers, that's fine. We're not touching that. So I have header templates. What I can do is now include the header templates in my home page. Okay, I don't want to break things. That's why I'm very careful. I cut all this, just put it somewhere here so it's safe. Go back here. Okay. So instead of me having all those codes in my home page, I can just use one simple statement that says Apex include. Apex. Okay. Include. And what do I want to include? I want to include the header template. Okay. But I need to put it in quotes. And I need to include the page name. Okay. So now we have that unknown page header template. So now let's refresh this our home page and see what we have. Okay, so we have, which is pretty much what we need, right? Then, so we don't want to replicate stuff. This header, I just need to take this off. Okay. I need to take this off because I don't need it anymore. Okay, refresh this, right? So the only difference is this is now getting long, right? All we just need to do is go to our header template and try to see if you can wrap it. It's just that it's going to close that div. That's what I'm worried about. It's going to close that div. So let's see. Let's see what we can do. If you open it here, you have to close it. That's a problem. You have to close it, which will just close that header, right? It's going to close the header. It's still open. Save. It's going to close the header, but okay, so it's not bad. So we need to close this space a little bit, right? Go to home page and what's the space? Customer manage this space. I want to close. Okay, how do I close it? Let me take off this. Okay, that doesn't do anything. I can just write a div. Okay, and in my div, I can have a class, and I'll call it margin. And the margin should be minus 50 pixel. Okay, so that should do the trick. Can you see, did it go up? It did not go up. Let's have more. Margin top. Margin top. Okay. Class, margin top, minus 50. Let's make it 150. Refresh. Okay, it's not having any effect. That's not good. Let's find out if we can put it somewhere here or before the main. I think that is happening before the main. Okay, refresh. It's not bringing it up. So what we can do is see the padding. If padding will work. Normally something should work, right? Okay, I wouldn't spend much time on that. That's not really helpful for our training. More importantly, you just need to know that. But class should work, actually. It's quite funny that it's not working. It should work. So if you have margin, and what if you have a span instead of a div? So a span should indicate that there's a content there. Then you can just move that. Or maybe that was in our template. So this is the template. What if I have a span here and I save this? Okay, save this. Refresh this. It's still not working. Okay, don't let us spend too much time on that. It's just styling. Let's focus now on so now, what is the purpose of what I've just done? Now, I've cleaned this up a little bit. The only thing now we have is include, and we have the body and the main. So if I grab this, okay, I go to my customer create page. So I can take off everything here. I don't need to replicate code. I take everything off. What do I have here? Body main. Body main. Just put it here. So I have replaced everything, all those code. I have replaced it with just one single line. And that same code is what we're using here. That same code is what we're going to be using in all our pages. Okay? So it's still working perfectly. And we've reduced the number of code. Okay? So now I want to go to details page. I copied everything here. Go to details. And I paste it. Okay, so now that I've pasted it, the only thing I just need to show is, I told you I want to use this, right? So your cat needs to come back. Okay, so this row, this must come back, okay? Where did we stop here? Redeem, okay? Where is redeem? This is redeem, okay? So I have to copy all this div. I have to copy all this div. Go back to my develop and change that div to this. Okay, but it has to be the bottom one. The bottom one is what I'm interested in. Okay, so remember, this is column 5, right? So that means That means we're going to take this off. Column 3 will be gone. And 5 plus 7 give us 12. Okay? So the other one will be column 12. Okay? So now, customer details on line 137 has issue. I'll take what we can do is the input field, which we don't really need anyway. Take it off. Okay. And we refresh this page, or we create another customer to test. Okay, I'm sorry, guys, but I just have to do this tonight, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least we should do the CRUD before anything, okay? Okay, so as you can see, it looks promising. The only difference is that it is now not properly formatted. So let's kind of like, let's change this to, let's say 4. Okay, maybe because of the spacing. And let's take off all this away. Four, and what should this be? 4 and 8 actually, but let's just see. This is getting bigger. Let's reduce it to 6. Okay. 6 is a bit too small, right? Let's say it's actually meant to be 7. I don't know why 7 is breaking, but it's actually meant to be 7. Let's try 7 again, but we'll bring it back to 6. 6, 7. Did we save? That's 7, okay? Refresh. Yeah, 7 is about right, okay? So now we have this. So what I want to show is, I want to show the invoices here. Then the customer details here, okay? So let's replace all this stuff with the customer details, okay? Replace all the stuff with the customer details. Your cards, I want to change your card to name. I want your card to be name, okay? So what do we have for name? This is the name. Okay, save. So that's the name, right? Which obviously it's not last name. Okay, put some space here if you want to. But the bottom line is you have last name. Okay, the space is not coming. HTML space. This is HTML space, okay? Never memorize anything, just know how to look for it. Okay, so space should be there now. Save it. Refresh. Okay, the space is there, the first name, last name. But you can, just say full name, right? And you can make this green instead of blue. Okay? So that's how you just create the details page, okay? You create the details page. Okay, now it's green and it's good. Now just change all this to, you can put the email. I wouldn't go into much details, but you guys get the gist. You can put the email of the customer, the phone number of the customer, okay? Email, phone, Okay, so save that. Refresh. Okay, can you see the email is coming, the phone number is coming? But that's just about that. Okay, this is how to put the details of the customer. So we've done create, we've done create, okay? And if the ID is present, customer ID is going to populate the value, right? According to our design. The name can only contain underscores and alphanumeric character. It must begin with a letter and unique and must not include space. So customer ID, name. So let's go to name. Okay. Create customer. First name. I'm just checking something, okay? Let's take off this for a minute. Let's take that off for a minute. And refresh. We're still getting that. That means it's not from this thing, right? So let's go to our controller that is controlling that action. Customer controller, customer ID. If customer ID is not null, customer name, first name, last name from customer ID. Okay? So I need to see the log to tell me what is going on in the log, okay? I think this is the log, right? So when I try to access my customer, what did I get? Customer controller. True. So it's not even querying stuff out. Let's go back to this page and find out. Okay, this is the problem. It's not and, it's meant to be question mark, okay? It's not and, it's meant to be question mark. Question mark is when you're querying all the fields after the main URL. And is when you want to add something else. Action equals delete. That's the and, okay? But when you're querying, you just put the question mark there, okay? So we've gotten our what? We've gotten our create and edit. Do you get? It's now giving you all the details you filled before. Okay? What you can also do is make sure that when it is edit, this stuff changes to edit. When it is create, this stuff will be create. How can you achieve that? You can just use the condition in the Visualforce page. But we have the create and we have the edit. So it remains delete. We already have delete as well anyways, but let's test our edits, okay? This is currently Babatope email and stuff. So let's change it to something else. Updated, and 2, okay? Updated, right? Refresh. Updated as updated, okay? So we are good in terms of our updates. Create is working, update is working, read is working. So what we need is test delete. So what is our delete? Our delete is and action equals delete, okay? So if an action equals delete, it will go to the page, okay? And is going to go to our controller that has delete customer, okay? Because the controller that has delete customer will be triggered, and the action, if action type is delete and customer ID is not null, is going to delete. Okay, so that is how to delete. So what do we need to do? We just need to have this in our action type. Okay, action. That's all right. So you have that create, you have the delete, and you're in charge. You're in charge of the activities, because once you click on delete, it should be able to delete that operation according to what we had yesterday. Okay? According to what we have yesterday, we should be able to delete accounts, delete stuff. Okay? So now if you go back here, there's one more thing that we haven't done. What is it? When you go to delete, you'll go to delete account. Delete account. No, let's go to this. Delete customer. Okay. Delete customer, and the controller is this. Let's close this so we don't get confused. Delete customer. Okay. So we go to the action type. What is the action type? The action type is action. Okay. And we check the customer ID, which is this. And what else? In our create customer, we have the action, delete customer. Then let's test it again. It should work. I don't think there's any problem. We have this customer ID and the action, okay? And we go to logs to find out why delete is not working. Action type delete and customer ID is here, okay? This customer record is this. So you should actually delete, right? Just 1 minute. I have everything, action type. So this customer. So let me go into the operation. What happens when it gets everything? Action type deletes. Customer is not null. If customer, where ID is customer ID. Okay. Limit 1. Delete customer. Okay, so let's look at that log again and see what is happening. It says this customer record is this. That's fine. Just what I'm looking for, where it is. Let me just debug. So it's not actually getting to that area of delete. What do I need to do? This use of this customer. Just give me 1 minute. This customer ID, this action type. Okay. So I have delete customer, this action, let's even start with the basic stuff. I am in delete customer. Is it coming to this delete customer? I am in delete customer. Is it coming here? That's a very good start of your debugging, just to find out if it is actually coming to where you want to come to. Okay. So for us to have that, let's quickly create a very simple delete out link here. Okay. Delete out link would just be called, and we don't add code the action, because whatever activity you're carrying out is what is triggering the action. Okay. So let's have a very simple delete outlook. I said outlook. We want to have outer link, an outer link that would delete whatever outer link in Apex outer link, okay? Apex outlink. And you can just grab the outlink, okay? Let's just put the outlink here. And if you save this, it's working, and the outlink should be somewhere here. Okay, so I will just call that delete, and just grab this. Actually, the value is this, okay? List of customers. List of customers is not ready yet. I'll just leave it that way, but delete customer. Okay, delete customer. Unknown property customer.account. Customer. Okay, it's meant to be customer, right? Or customer record, whichever one. Okay. Delete customer. Yeah. It says list has no row, which is perfect. Okay. So if I go back to that customer, refresh this, delete customer. So it's saying list has no row, which is obviously the redirection after delete. Okay. The redirection after delete is going to list of all accounts. It's meant to go to list of all contacts. So for that, let's just have this here, which is a replica of create customer. That's fine. But the bottom line is our controller needs to go to, where is delete action? This is delete customer. Okay. Delete customer, delete confirmation. So it's actually meant to go to delete confirmation. Okay. So let's find out what we have here. So if I click on delete, I want to go to, just give me 1 minute. I'm in customer details. Okay. Customer details. Okay. So customer details, grab the customer ID and look for the customer ID and call the action delete. Okay. Go back, refresh this, click on delete. Okay, click on delete again. Let's see what the error is. So it's not going to, it's not coming to the controller. Hold on for 1 minute. Customer details. I click on this, and expectation is going to grab your customer ID and the action called delete and delete. So why is it not going to the customer controller? Delete customer. It's not coming here. It's meant to come here. That's my challenge. So I go to customer details, making sure that the action is there. Okay. I need to have that action placed there. Okay. The action for delete. The action for delete, which is in customer details, where we're calling it from. Okay. We need to have that action there. So it's studying that action. Okay, let's try this again. Refresh. And I'm going to take this off so it's not present at first. Has it deleted that? So it deleted that, right? So let's try again. Let's try again. What I want to try is create a customer and delete that customer, okay? Apologies for staying longer. It's just that I want to make sure that we have the CRUD done. Then you guys can do the rest, okay? So, Ebenezer, okay? I create this guy, which is this, okay? The ID is there. So if I go to my Salesforce, I should be able to see that customer I just created, okay? This is it. Then I go and delete this customer, okay? Delete customer. Okay, the account has been deleted successfully, okay? If I go here, I refresh, the customer does not exist, okay? So let's quickly style up delete confirmation, okay? Instead of this, let's just copy the home page, put it here. But because the home page obviously is much nicer than that, which is this. No, the home page is this, right? So what does that tell me? It means that I can just look for a bootstrap theme that looks nice, that can be used for the delete confirmation. So I can just use this. So I'll just use this as a delete confirmation. Back to album sample, okay? This is album example. And I can just copy this section. That's all I need. Okay, I don't need all this stuff. I can just copy this section and I should still be good. Okay, so create customer. Okay, delete the customer. And I have good stuff, right? So now let's quickly do the footer as well. Footer looks to be repeated. Copyright Visualforce Inc. Okay, so I have this here. If you go to the home page, I have it here. If you go to this, do I have it? Okay, I don't have it in Create, but we can obviously put it. If you go to this, you can also put it as well, right? So anytime you see that you know that there's an opportunity for you to include a footer that is common to every page, every of your pages. Okay, so copy this and create a new Visualforce page, footer template, okay? The same thing you did for the header, you put it there, but make sure that you don't have the style. You don't have all this stuff because, you don't want to have this kind of stuff in your template. So now that we have that, this stuff can be replaced with footer templates. Okay? That means we don't need to always do that stuff. We can just put it everywhere and it will work. Okay? It's always after a div before our main. and go to list of customers. We haven't done it yet, but still put it there in case we're done. Customer details, put it there as well. So we just need to change it once and it's going to affect everything, okay? We change it once and it reflects on all the pages that is making use of that footer template. So now we have this here. We can put it at the center. What can we also do? We can use our this. So we can use the same stuff we use here. Just put it there. So how do we get this? Home features, the second one, right? This is the second one, okay? Just in case. This is it, okay? Simple header is the first one. The second one is this. So I can just grab all this. I can just grab all this and put it in my footer template. Footer. Okay. Footer. And it will just replace everything we have in the footer without having us to code anything. Okay. Everything will just come here. Can you see? So we can just put center. Guys, this is HTML, but as you can see, it's part of the development, what makes it look nice. So when I ask you guys to create a very premium website, I want to see you putting attention to details. All this stuff would matter a lot in your presentation. Okay, can you see the way I'm putting attention to all these details? That's the expectation from you guys as well, okay? I'm trying to bring that down. So after the center, I have a break and I can add more breaks if I want. Okay. Then I refresh this. It's not coming out the way I want it. Footer, center, the nav pills. Let's put it at the top here first. Okay, it's too close. Put one break before and put one break after, okay? Okay, yeah, I can accept it. This is fine. So what you can also put is a rule. You can put a rule, okay? You can put a rule. Where is the dummy div we created? We created a dummy div somewhere in our create customer, I believe. This is a dummy div. I can put a rule as that instead. Okay. HR is the horizontal line, okay? And it has a self-closing tag, okay? Refresh. Okay, that's the rule, okay? It's kind of like a bit better right now, okay? So now we have this, and we know that we can edit, we know that we can delete, we know that we can read, and we know we can create. So now let's create view all customers. We don't want to view just one customer, but we want to view all the customers in the system. We want to view all the customers in the system. But before we do that, let's see if we can control this. Okay, let's see if we can control this, meaning that I want to change this to create when I'm creating new stuff. But when there is an ID present, that means it's edit. I want to make this edit. Okay, so let me go to create customer form. This is the command button, right? Ternary operator. Visualforce page. Let me see that. And that might not work because I'm just trying to, okay, let me try something. This is this, right? So this is value create, right? How can I use pages, sample 3, sample page? Just 1 minute. Okay. Okay, it's not there. So I'm trying to do the ternary for this, okay? So the ternary for this is very simple. I want to be able to control create customer. Okay, let's see. Some variable. It says some variable does not exist, but we're not looking for some variable. We're looking for customer dot ID. Okay, it's not null, right? Update customer. Create customer. Okay. So now it's create, right? Let's have ID present and see if our ternary work. Sorry, customer ID, okay? So as you can see, it's working, right? When the ID is on the URL, this will be update, okay? And if the ID is not present in the URL, this will be create, okay? So our ternary is working. And how did we achieve that? In our value, instead of us to add code create customer, we just put some logic that checks if something is present and it changes based on that, okay? So this is kind of thing I would love to see in your application. So the last thing is to display all our customers. Okay, I want to display all customers, which is going to be our last activity for tonight. Then you guys will work on the rest. The rest is just very easy, just like this. So list all customers. So right now, our list all customers is just having a form, but I want it to be a list, a table. I want it to be a table, okay? Again, source of truth or source of listing, look for a table. This is a table. That's how you develop. You don't start from scratch. You just go and check an existing stuff, grab the format, and start using it. Section title. Okay, so I'll just grab everything in section title. Is that the beginning of the table? Yeah, it's the beginning of the table. Okay, so beginning of the table plus one div. Okay, I'm gonna paste it here. Knowing well that all these forms are not useful. So I'll call it list of all customers. Okay. and I will save. So now it's saying div must have an ending tag. That means I need to add one more div here, right? Save. Okay, so let's go to our list of customers, refresh. So we have our table, which is fine. I'll take session title off. I'll take this off. Now I can put this one there. I'll just take session title off, okay? Session title should go. Alternatively, I can swap, but let's just let it go for now. Now, what do I have in my customer? I have first name, last name, email, phone, okay? Why not just have that? Or I can have action. Okay, I can have action at the end of the table. So I'm going to have first name. Note, you can have as many, don't be limited by what I'm saying. You can have as many this thing, right? Email. Then I'm going to put action. Okay, action meaning that I can view that customer, I can edit that customer, I can delete that customer and the likes. Okay, so first name, last name, email, action. In my action, I want to have edit, view, edit, delete, right? What other stuff? Yeah, view, edit, delete. So I can just have an outer link in that place that is controlling those actions. So if you look at this table right now, everything here is just data, right? Data. So I don't need to have all this bunch of data. I'll just delete it. I'll just leave it to one data. And that data is what I'm going to use to build my table. Okay. So refresh, one data, that's fine. So I need to find out all the customers in the system, loop through all the customers in the system, and be able to create. Okay. So I'm going to loop through all the customers in the system and create records for each of the rows. Okay. So how do I get the first name? First name. There is what they call Apex repeats. Apex repeats. So Apex repeats will repeat the value of a list in a controller. So you have a string, you call the repeat, and it repeats it. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So if you have table, if you have TR, case number, case email, then you call this. Okay, so let's just grab this. This is what we need. You go to develop. So instead of this, remember, Apex repeats. Where is Apex repeats? After the last TR that is covering the table, which is a TH, right? After the last TR that is covering the table, which is a TH. So in your body is where you want to put the Apex repeat, okay? In the body is where you want to put the Apex repeat. So what you have to do is just imagine you have Apex repeats before this TR. Apex repeats. Then this TR will go into this place, okay? So this TR that we have here is technically all this TR and TD is technically this TR and TD, okay? So what we just need to do is grab our customers. What is our customers? Our customers, customer, oh, we need a customers actually. We need customers, and let's just hold on that one for a minute. So we have, let's say we have customers. Then we want to repeat cases, but that's not what we want to repeat. We want to repeat a variable, okay? A variable, which is going to be one customer. Okay? Then obviously you can have ID called repeats, which is just a way to differentiate different ID in the system. So this repeats, I need to bring the opening of repeats after doing all this manipulation. I put repeat here, okay? So literally we've repeated the customers that is coming in from the system, although we haven't created that query yet, but we have a structure in place. $35. This is not meant to be variable. It's meant to be the value. Why are we using variable? It's meant to be the value. The value is what we're passing there. Okay? We're passing the value called customers. We're looping through the customers to get one customer, and we're printing the value of that customer here. So customer TD, I'll just leave that one for now. Name, okay. Then customer dot last name. Customer dot email. Then I'll leave the action, just say actions, okay. So we have this. Now, the question is, we don't have customers because we're looping through customers. For us to loop through customers, we must have created customers. Where can we create customers? We create customers in the controller. So just like when we're using customer, let's create customers. Customers. Well, customers must be a list, right? Because it's a lot. Now that you've created customers, what do you need to do? Where's customer controller again? You need to populate customers, okay? Populate customers. What do you want to populate customers with? You want to populate customers with a list of customers record and make sure that it's in your controller, initialization. This is like a constructor. The first thing that will load when your controller is being accessed. This one you don't have to filter because you want to load all the customers in the system. Okay? So now you go back to your list of all customers, save. Okay, that works fine. And all you just need to do is refresh that page. List of view all customers. Can you see? At least something is coming up, right? Which is a good thing. So what we need to do now is to make sure that we are expressing it using an expression. Okay? We're using an expression. Okay? Then it's going to give us, did I save? Save. Refresh. Last name. Last name. Save. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We have to stop. Refresh. S-object customer. Invalid email. Refresh. That's it. So we have created, we have read, we have display one, and we are now displaying all the lists. This is all the customers in the system. So let's create another customer. The last customer checking out, whatever number is it, email, address, create. Now, this is the last customer checking out. That's it, right? And you can, the customer details, you can also do the ternary operator here for the customer details, okay? So let's go to list all customers. The last checking out is now coming out. Okay. So what we need to do now is this. As you can see, the number is always the same, right? We can improve it by creating a dynamic number, something that would always change. We can do that. That's number one. We also need to do the action, edit, view, edit, and delete. Okay. So let's quickly do that. Inside the last TD, what we can do is just have this, like have more action, right? View, edit, delete. Okay, we don't need to create customer because we are currently viewing that customer. And this repeats. Let me see. There is one thing they call repeats variable index. Salesforce, Visualforce page. All this stuff, it's kind of like, it's something I've done before. I just need to know the time, what to look out for. I know it might not be easier for you that way, but then again, you just need to learn how to look for what you're looking for, if that's the right thing to say. So basically, I want the numbers to be changing. So now it says I have variable, this, then my output test, I have that. Okay, number, then I'm just adding numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an index. Okay, I'm going to create an index called variable called index with a starting value as 1001. Okay, but the variable name will be index. Okay, that's number one. Number two, anytime, instead of me having 1001 here, I'm just gonna have that index, right? I'm just gonna have that index. Now, after iterating, I need to increase the variable before sending it back. Variable, okay, variable index. Okay, and the value of that index needs to change before sending it back. Otherwise, it is going to always have 1001, 1001. So I want it to be like 1001 plus 1. Okay? So the current value of that index is value of index plus 1. Meaning that after the first iteration, just add 1 to this value of index. So this index will always be changing dynamically. Okay? So if I refresh this now, so it's just plus 1 plus 1. That's fine. That's fine. Okay? So what we just need to do is do not add code this, right? You just need to make it an expression. If you don't make it an expression, it's going to be coding the value. So the expression will express the value. Okay. So now we have view, we have edit, we have delete. Let's quickly fix that. Okay. So now they have to be outer link. Okay. Where's our Apex outer link? Apex out link. View, edit, delete. Okay. View, edit, delete. Okay. So delete. Okay. So we have that, and what will be the value? The value will be where we're sending it to, right? So the value for view, if we want to view a record, what do? We go to create, we go to customer details, right? And we grab the customer ID. Okay, so that's all I need for my view. Customer details, customer ID, okay? View, customer details, customer ID. And what should be the ID? Customer.id, okay? Customer.id. And how do you do that? Okay. For the edits, the same thing, right? For the edits, you want to do the same thing. And for the this is actually for the edits. View is just customer details of the ID. Edits, if the ID is present, is going to edit, right? So what about delete? You want to put action. And action equals delete. Okay, so we have the action equals delete. And for this, I think we can just do the same thing, right? It's just a case of just listing it because we put the form there as well. So that wouldn't make much impact. But then again, it's just you editing and it's you viewing, okay? So there shouldn't be much difference. I refresh. I go to all customers. Then you see the link. You can view. It gives you the view, okay? And you can also edit immediately. Go back. You go to edit, it gives you that. Then you can also check out. Okay, it gives you here, but make sure that it puts customer checking out. Okay, then you go back, there is no checking out again. Okay, that is it for the CRUD of the customer application. So what is left is the invoice and the view all invoice. So what can you do? You can create that and just build a very simple application that looks very promising, but it is based on Visualforce page. This is why I had Samuel to teach you HTML and CSS. And this is where your HTML and CSS knowledge comes into play. Everything you've learned from the beginning of this training, there's a strategy behind everything. It's to prepare you for this moment. So if you've paid attention in your HTML, CSS page, this should be walk in the park for you. So I'm going to stop here for tonight. I would like to find out if you guys have any questions based on what we've done, even though it might be harder to even ask questions because everything I'm showing you is very intuitive. But do you guys have anything that would not make you be able to create this for your projects? Please raise up your hands and let me unmute you so you can speak. Ask question now. Is there anything I've taught you tonight you feel like even after going through the video, you will not be able to understand? Is there anything like that? Please unmute yourself and speak. Okay, I guess everything is clear and everyone is in good shape to create a very beautiful application, not just something that doesn't look nice. It has to be beautiful. It has to make sense, okay? According to what I've done tonight. That's all from me. If there are no questions, is there any questions? If there are no questions, please watch this video over and over again and try to create at least a CRUD and share it in your group. After sharing it in your group, be expecting a project from me soon. Again, if you watch this video from start to finish, you should be able to create a CRUD at least. Then your project will now be maybe working on relationship of that CRUD. Okay, that's all from me. Take care of yourself. All the best. Have a good night. Bye, everyone. Bye.